What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Live Locks, presented by Scores and Odds. If you haven't checked it out already, just making bad life choices, going over to scoresandodds.com, where you got picks from me, Meansy, that piece of crap right there. Plus, you get access to this nice little shopping stool where you can see best odds for the playoffs, MLB playoffs that are underway right now. You can go get strikeout props, everything. We have them all projected. Plus, you can see where the best lines at any given time. And most importantly, you get access to Grant's Action Lounge. What is that? Well, that is my Discord where I'm throwing in all my bets. Look at all these beautiful bets each and every day. And we have been crushing, absolutely crushing, sitting at around a 15% ROI since the beginning of last month. Dean, you're here and I'm making a boatload of money.
Yeah, some would say I'm a mush, but like someone also say I was here yesterday and I'm pretty sure you smashed yesterday. So you know what? You're welcome.
Yeah, well, not even you can mush my greatness right now.
You've been on fire. Yeah. You're not one to toot your own horn, obviously, but you were telling me pre-show how much you smashed last night. And both 99.9% of the people that watched that Colts Broncos game were just throwing up and disturbed and upset. Even Colts fans probably are just like not happy about it.
It is. It is the absolute like. It's weird being a Seahawks fan. Like I've been a Russell Wilson fan pretty much since he came in the league, and at this point, I'm like, hey, I don't know how I feel about this guy anymore.
Like, my god, what happened? I thought it was like, okay, he had a finger issue last year. He's going to be fine. Denver, he's got weapons. Oh man, and they've been on like national TV. I feel like every single game it seems like, and it's because I think the country was excited. Like, oh, this should be fun. Denver's they're going to be a contender, right? This team just needed a quarterback. They're one quarterback away, and good Lord, it's awful. And Matt Ryan's not good either. Like, he got the W, but I mean, he should not be proud today. It's bad. And scoring's down overall in football this year too. I don't know why can't we find we can't find 32 like people that are really good at throwing footballs in the entire world. There's 8 billion people, Grant. Why can't we find 32 people that excel at throwing footballs?
I mean, we do, but it's just I think like there's a difference between how much you can actually like how great you can actually get, and the game's constantly evolving, constantly getting different. So that's my theory.
Yeah, I mean that was a theory, but not really a theory. You were saying stuff, but it was general enough where it encompasses a lot. It was good though. It was a good answer.
Yeah, I mean the game's evolving, strategy changes, rules change. The way the game's played is constantly evolving, and some people just can't keep up. Like what? Bill O'Brien? All right. No, who was the coach of Houston that traded
Bill O'Brien?
Yeah, Bill O'Brien. Like, dude might have been a decent coach at some point, and now then he was just hot garbage and didn't understand that running backs aren't as important as they used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, even Bill Belichick, like, is an absolute genius, but I don't think he's fully adopted the new way that things go, where you have to pass the ball. But it's neither here nor there. We got betting.
Tell the Bears that, by the way, just to give them a head. I don't know if you have a direct line.
Oh, they know what they're doing. They're tanking for a better QB.
What? That's what the Bears are doing? They've already given up on their quarterbacks? Okay.
They're playing with what they've got, which is a mobile quarterback that's not NFL ready and a great rushing line.
Yeah.
We got bets. Starting off the first one, Jeff Wilson, over 17.5 rushing attempts, -113 over at Caesars. I don't know if you know this, 49ers like to rush the ball.
Yes. He's their main running back outside of Debo, right?
Yeah, pretty much. No real explanation needed. I think he said I had the last week. It's just a bad line. Zach Ertz over 4.5 receptions, -115 at Caesars. He's been getting a pretty decent target share. He's been solid so far this year. He's always been a guy that just is going to get a large amount of volume. He's been doing pretty well in this offense that doesn't have a ton. 6, 6, and 8 receptions over the last 3 games. 6, 10, and 11 targets. 4.5 just seems like it's too low considering the amount of volume he's going to get each and every single week because they're going to run at a big pace. They're going to throw the ball decent amount. They've been behind a lot. They're going up against Philly. Philly's been the best first half team in the league, so chances are they're going to be down. Cardinals been the worst first half team in the league. Did you know that?
I feel like we talked about in the show yesterday. They did not score. They've yet to score in the first quarter. They've been thoroughly outscored and just spanked in the first half. By the way, what team did you mention Zach Ertz? What team did he used to play for you before he played
Philly
for
revenge game? Boom.
I don't know how that factors in with targets, but there you go.
Yeah. Kareem Hunt under 48.5 rushing yards is no longer good. It's all the way down to like 42. So I made a good bet.
It expired.
Josh Allen under 278.5 passing yards. This game's going to be a blowout. Like, it's not really going to be close. I mean, it's Pittsburgh going up against Buffalo. Generally, Buffalo keeps their foot on the throttle, but
yeah,
I don't see many scenarios where Allen hits this line. Let's see if it's moved at all. I have to assume it's going to be dropping. Yeah, it's down 2.2 yards. I'd still keep hitting that.
What does Cardi have that projected at? I feel like he'd probably be still a pretty good projection for yards.
I mean, I assume so.
I'm pulling. I feel like it would be around that number, if not higher. That's why I'm asking. Are you getting positive juice? What's the juice there?
No, minus 115 on the under.
Okay.
Cardi has he likes the under. He's got him projected for 255.
Oh wow. For Josh Allen?
It's being played in Buffalo too. I probably should have led with that. Buffalo, like Josh Allen's numbers in Buffalo are drastically worse.
It's still early part of the season, but yeah, okay. That's surprise to me. That's surprisingly low as far as the projection. 256. Wow.
I mean, but again, it's Buffalo. Like his numbers home versus away are drastically different. Travis Etienne over 1.5 receptions, big juice on this minus 167, but he's getting more and more involved each and every week. Robinson has not been as great as you'd hoped. He's heavily involved in the passing game. 3, 4, and 1 targets so far this season. Going up against Houston, that's just not a good team. Etienne should end up seeing 3 to 5 targets in the spot here and fairly high catch rates. So 1.5 receptions is just such a low number for this guy. I'm easily on the over.
The number is low enough, but the way I understand it, the way it's going right now in Jacksonville is like game script wise. Like if Jacksonville's ahead, it's Robinson. If they're behind, it's Etienne. But like 1.5, right? You know, and they should be ahead versus Houston. Like in theory, they're like 7-point favorites, right?
Yeah,
but
no, that is the case. Like if they're down 14 points, it's going to be Etienne almost the entire time. It'll still be the third down back. He's still heavily involved in the receiving game. Still should see targets throughout the course of the game. He's getting a boatload of usage in the receiving game in that same game. On the other side is Rex Burkhead. Minus 143 over 2.5 receptions. 5, 4, 3, and 8 targets. 5, 4, 2, and 5 receptions. Burkhead, he's old, but he's still getting a ton of run in the receiving game.
It's so weird that Houston feels the need to trot him out. Like what? I mean, when Houston's theoretically good, like Burkhead's not going to be on that team, right?
No, but I mean, running backs are easily the most likely to get injured. So if you're not going to win, it's not trying to get some run out of your quarterback, get him some experience, or your wide receivers. There's no point in having anything but a split backfield, especially on a bad team, unless you're just, I'm going to use this guy until he's done for.
That was the weirdest thing when he got 14 rushes in week 1. That was, and then he got 0 in week 2, and a couple in week 3, and 0 in week 4. But he's on the field, like you said, for the receptions, 33% of the time. I assume that's all third down stuff or catch up stuff, that kind of thing. Pierce is their running back, the future, whatever, and who knows that's a term that like what running back of the next 2 years or 3 years, right? The way football is these days.
Yeah.
But, what's the number you said as far as the receptions he needs?
2.5 over.
Yeah, that's not bad. I kind of like that because you got to assume they're playing a little bit catch up here.
Yeah. Same game. Marvin Jones under 3.5 receptions, minus 129. The guy got 1 target last week. Pretty clear that it's Kirk, it's Ingram, it's Zay Jones.
What's the official status of Zay Jones? He's still questionable?
I think he's still questionable. I think he's expected to play.
Okay. I see some injury stuff coming in now. But
expected to return week 5, yeah. So Zay Jones in there, like that's the bulk of the volume is Zay Jones and Christian Kirk. And
I'm saying that's good for your under bet on Jones.
Oh yeah, if Zay Jones wasn't going to play, I wouldn't take this.
Okay,
but like if there was a decent chance, which everything pointed towards Zay Jones playing, and now it's pretty much he's expected to play. So yeah, a guy that just had a great week. Not expecting the same one. But Rashad Penny over 58.5 rushing yards. Like, it's going to be interesting, that Detroit game. Like, it's going to be interesting with Detroit every single week. I was on it super heavy this last weekend. Like, I bet every over. I stacked that game. I think I had 50% Seattle, Detroit game stacks. Man, boy, actually almost took down the GPP this weekend.
Did you? I didn't know. I didn't ask you about your DFS week. Mine – Grant, I'm a chalk donkey through and through, and then I made the bold decision tournaments to basically exclusively fade Hawkinson, and that was like my big decision, and that did not go well for your boy. So I had some good lineups, but like I had tight ends where it was like 45 points behind Hawkinson, so it's like, yeah, and he was also the most popular tight end. So yeah, bad job by me.
Yeah, I was like a one swap away from the Millie Maker, I think.
You play the Millie Maker?
No, did I play? I throw it in. I only throwing out 4 lineups on DK.
Okay.
3 to 4 each week, just because I don't. So I'm like, you know what? I'll throw them in the Millie Maker. It's $20 on when I'm already spending a few hundred on a lineup. $20 more, like gives me a little bit of upside. But yeah, generally I don't like playing the Millie Maker. I think I came in like 240th.
Nice.
Isn't bad. I thought I had a chance at it. Just Lockett couldn't get it done, and then Cooks.
Jacobs closed strong. If we didn't have him, he was pretty popular.
Who?
Josh Jacobs.
I didn't. I had Cooks instead of Jacobs. That was big. But I had like Eckler. I had Penny. I had Eckler. No, I had Eckler, Williams, Metcalf, Lockett, Geno, Hawkinson, and then one other wide receiver that went off for a massive game. And then Cooks and Lockett were the ones that just crushed my lineup.
Do you have an official take as far as this? Detroit every single week. You pick on Detroit.
Yep.
Load up on Detroit.
I'm gonna stack against them this week.
How are you gonna do that?
I'm gonna do every single which way.
You're gonna play Zappy?
I'm gonna play Zappy. I'm gonna double stack Zappy.
Harris.
I'm also gonna have some lineups with both Harris and Stevenson, because it's not going to surprise me if both of them go off for.
I don't think that's nuts. I was thinking about that too, and I don't think that's crazy. But it does hurt your upside, I guess. But they can both score a touchdown and both put up like 25 plus points. Like they can both do that.
Yeah, I mean, look at Seattle this week. Penny had a massive game along with Metcalf and Geno. Like you can. It's just incredible.
And you got to assume Zappy is going to be like it's not official, right? Mac Jones still might play, but it looks like it's going to be Zappy as of right now, at least. Yeah. But he's going to be game managing the hell of that one, I imagine. And they're favorites. They're favored versus Detroit. And Detroit, probably the worst defense in football. And Belichick knows this, and he's just probably going to just run it down their throats, I would imagine.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we see another one like we saw against Buffalo where Mac Jones threw like 4 times. So it's big risk, big reward. But let's get back to betting. Breece Hall over 2.5 receptions, -112 over at Bet Rivers. Breece Hall, like obviously it's a split backfield, but Hall got a lot of work last week, 17 rushing attempts, 2 receptions, 6 targets, has 6 and 11, 1 and 9 targets so far this season. So he's getting a decent amount of workload out of the backfield. I think he's kind of taken over the number 1 role, although it's, again, pretty split. But he's going to be getting dump offs. 2.5 receptions is too low a line.
Yeah, I was trying to pull it up on the fly here on the snap count for Hall, but I know a lot of the season-long touts are talking about, like, he's on the rise. This is his moment. He's breaking through, and like that makes sense. Like, it makes sense that he would separate himself from Johnson and Carter to some extent. So, yeah, I was looking for the factual evidence and trying to say words to buy time to get there, but just like assume you are correct. Hey, here, you know what? I just found it right in time. Week 2, 27% snap count. Week 3, 51%. Week 4, 66%. So have been rising up. Carter slowly going down the 44, and Ty Johnson not in the field last game and just one snap the previous game. So it's two running backfield at this
Well,
point.
I mean, the main reason Ty Johnson in there is he's good at catching the ball. So now that they have Brees and you have Carter,
yeah,
both of them are good in the receiving game. There's no point in using Ty Johnson. George Kittle over 3.5 receptions hasn't done great so far this year. 4 and 5 targets and 4 and 2 receptions. But guy wasn't 8 targets a game. Those 2 games have been ugly. Like Giants or against the Broncos, we both know what happened. It was just terrible. And then the Rams, they had the lead pretty much the entire game, so just let Kittle block. Kittle should see a decent amount of volume. He's their number 2 target in this option. I know Ayuk's good, but Kittle now he should be back full health going up against Carolina. San Francisco should win, which hurts a little bit, but Kittle 3.5 receptions, too low line. I'm getting plus 102 juice over at Caesars.
Yeah, I like the positive juice. It's also a slow game, I believe. If you look at the projected pace, it's going to be one of the slower ones in the slate.
39 most games with San Francisco.
Say it again?
I'm pretty sure that's most games with San Francisco.
Yeah, when you combine it with Carolina, I want to say Carolina's at the fewest plays in the entire league this year.
That might be accurate.
Yeah, the 2 of them together are just it's gonna muck. It's gonna be whatever adjective you want to use. It's gonna be slow. And Jimmy G though historically has been good for Kittle. So the people are waiting for that to come, right?
Yeah.
So
it'll come. Kittle's
the number is low enough and you're getting positive juice. So I think it's worth a shot. And he's out there. He's playing over 90% of the snaps.
Yeah.
I mean, routes obviously matter too. Like you said, he's blocking some. I've not dug in to see how much he's blocking and how many routes he's running, but I'm pretty sure he's getting a fair bit of routes.
Yeah. Same game, Deebo Samuel over 4.5 receptions. 2, which was the monsoon game. He hasn't had less than 6 targets in a game. That was the only game where he had the under on this number. Was the first game versus Chicago when it was monsoon and it was Trey Lance for most of the game, but still had 7 targets in that one. I mean, Deebo is the focal point of this offense. 4.5 receptions. I know he does a decent amount of work in the running game. Is just an awful line. Minus 115 on the over DK. It
feels like, and I hate saying this, but it feels like worst case scenario, you're splitting that, right? You're splitting Deebo and Kittle. You're going to go 1-1 worst case. It feels like that.
Yeah.
So I like betting both those over, and like again, you could lose them both, sure, but it feels like you're winning at least one, possibly 2.
Yeah. Baker Mayfield over 18.5 completions. Awful. You don't like it, but they should be down. He should be throwing. He's only hit the over in this in 1 game, and that was last week. And I'm betting it again. Baker is hot garbage, but that's just a bad line. Rondale Moore over 3.5 receptions, minus 120 over at DK. Had 5 targets, 3 receptions last week. In this spot, he should end up seeing a decent amount of volume going up. They're likely to be losing, going up against Philadelphia. Going to be a lot of plays in this game. This is just a bad line.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he basically, it was his first game of the year. And I think he was out there essentially for most plays. Like, it wasn't like they held him back. I'm trying to pull it up right now as far as his.
Yeah. In an extra week of practice, like, he's a gadget guy. They're going to get the ball into his hand. I think at one time last year he had like 12 targets. And ADOT was like 4, something like that.
Yeah.
He's going to get volume. Like, until Hopkins comes back, he's going to get pretty massive volume. Because, I mean, you got Hollywood, obviously, that you can go deep with, and then Moore is a lot of the underneath stuff and gadget stuff. Like, he'll probably end up getting a rush or 2. I wonder what his rushing yards prop is.
I mean, Kingsbury is just such a dolt, though. Like, people aren't wrong about calling him a fake sharp. Again, like, these guys script like the first 10 or 15 plays of the game, and they've yet to score in the first quarter. He's supposed to be this brilliant offensive mind, but I don't know. First game of the year, by the way, Rondale Moore last week played 86% of the snaps, so he was full throttle.
Yep, it should be full throttle this week with another week under his belt. Jalen Hurts under 20.5 passing completions every single week. This is one you should take with a grain of salt. Every single week says to take this, and it's worked out 2 out of 4 times. But like It's just they're a run first team. Like the numbers just seems too high every single week. Offshore likes the under, projection miles like the under. He's a running quarterback, and then they have running backs. And this game,
what's the bet? Is the bet under on Hurts?
Under on Hurts completions, 20.5.
Well, the thing with him is that they've basically not been behind the entire season, and they've been way ahead. Like he hasn't had to do anything in the second half this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, the two games where I hit the over is one was a close game, and the other one he just started off like 15 for 15. So it was just drawn dead, and then had very few in the second half. But yeah, Zeke Elliott, he's not good at football anymore, Dean.
Well, tell it to Dallas and tell it to his contract because, they still want to keep giving him 3-yard carries.
Yep. And that's why I'm betting the over on 46.5 rushing yards. You know how many times he's hit the over on this season?
I would say, if not every time but once.
Every time was correct. He's getting 15 carries per game. If you're giving me 15 carries per game, 46.5 is almost always too low.
Yeah.
Like, he's hit the over in every single game. It's ugly, and I feel like they should be rushing Pollard, but I want to make money, and I know they're going to give the ball to him, even against a tough Rams team, even if the game script isn't great. They don't want Cooper Rush to do a ton in this offense. Zeke is going to get 15 to 20 rushes, and he's going to get 46.5 rushing yards.
They're not going to be efficient carries, but he's going to get there through volume.
Yep. That's honestly what we care about more than how good a running back is most of the time anyways. Cam Akers, under 6.5 receiving yards, minus 120 at DK. Huh. You know how many times he's hit the over on this?
I would guess every time.
1.
Oh.
He has 2 receptions, which both came in the Atlanta game in that ridiculous game. He has 1 target outside of that game this entire season.
Well, there was they kind of like start of the season. It was Henderson. It wasn't Akers, right?
Yeah.
In the first game, and then it flipped the next game, came close to flipping. Yeah.
Akers he's not used in the receiving game much at all, though. Yeah.
No, rarely.
Carries 3, 15, 12, 8. And then I think Brown's back in the mix now. So I'm basically betting he doesn't get a reception. And if he does, it's only going for a few yards. So I have a few outs, and numbers just say hammer the under.
His snap count, by the way, it was 18% week 1 and then 43%. So it was basically a split 50-50 with Henderson almost. Then it was 50-50 week 3. Last week it was 38%, and Brown did play 3% of the snaps. That's it. That's all he's done. That's the only time he played all season long.
And he'll be more involved this week.
You think so?
Yeah. Not much more, but enough where, like, again, it's just ugly. I have a few Joe Mixon bets. I'm betting the over on rushing yards and the over on receptions. Mixon has not been good this season.
But his role is awesome.
Yeah, his role is incredible. He's getting over 20. I think he's getting like 25 touches a game between. So I'm hitting the over on receptions. I'm hitting the over on rushing yards. Like 24, 12, 19, 27 rushing attempts so far this season. Averaging 2.7 yards a carry. So that's not great. But no matter how bad you are as a running back, if you keep getting this volume, you are going to get 60 yards. You're going to average 3 yards a carry. Unless it's just the absolute worst offensive line and worst running back.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's dead. I think it's probably small sample stuff, and also I think his line is bad, right? And
yeah, his line's not good, but they're still they want to run the ball with him, and they also use him a ton in the receiving game. 4, 7, 4, 9 targets, 4, 3, 3, 7 receptions. He's going to get the volume in the receiving game. He should hit both of these. They're just bad lines. You can get over on receptions, minus 117 at Caesars. Over on rushing yards, minus 115 at DK. I also had the over on Boyd receiving yards, but I got it plus 103 at PlayUp. PlayUp's only on 2 states, so it was just a drastically different line.
I don't know PlayUp.
Yeah, it's fairly new. Oh, baseball bet that started that I should have gotten to at the beginning of the show. I have Quintana over 3.5 strikeouts. Let's see how that's looking right now.
He's got 0 in the first inning, but at least it was a clean inning and only threw 12 pitches.
Yeah, that's good. That makes me. No, it's not great.
How excited about your Mariners, man?
Oh, gosh. I have so much money on the Mariners and your Tampa Bay Rays.
They're actually not my Rays. I kind of like the Rays. They're fun. I don't like the. I like how they're impressive. I'm impressed by what they do with this little they have. They're currently losing right now, top of the ninth, and that means the game's going to be over because here's your live mush. Class A is ridiculously dominant. The closer for Cleveland. There's no chance they score a run against Class A. He's just a nuts. So that game's over. It's going to be 2-1.
I'm waiting for the Rosarina.
Class A is awesome. I can't mush Class A. Yeah, but looks like Cleveland. And that game is all home runs. This is what it is, right? This time of year. Also, the weather's not great in most places. Total of 6 in that New York game I saw with Scherzer pitching later. But this game was just 2 homers, a 2-run homer for Cleveland and a solo shot for Tampa, and 2-1 game, and that's that. Surprised we got a couple homers, to be honest. The weather's not spectacular, but yeah.
Isn't it 3 home games for the first round?
Oh, is it?
I think it is.
They don't travel at all? That's interesting. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Are you sure that you're making this up? That seems weird.
Let's see.
It doesn't go 1-1-1?
Yeah, it should be. That's my thought, or 2-1.
It might go 2-1 because of travel.
That's my thought, but let's see. So at Cleveland. Yep.
Wow, I didn't realize how much of an advantage home field was. And by the way, we do have a victory for Cleveland because Class A is ridiculous. Clean inning in the 9th, clean sheet. 2-1 for the
It's
Guardians.
funny because the way they use free bets, which I suggest all you guys do this with your free bets. I use them all on futures. I've talked about this before. So, like, the main thing with free bets is you want longer odds, the better, because you're not getting back the original equity. So I went with a lot of, like, the fringe teams to make the playoffs, like Baltimore, Tampa Bay, Toronto, Cleveland, Seattle. I have a ton of money on all of them. Obviously, Baltimore didn't make it, but since they were all like 30 and 41 odds, so that's why I have like just massive paydays of any of the 4 teams playing, any of the teams playing in this round of the playoffs. I get a massive amount of money if they win the World Series.
When do you consider hedging it? You got to be the World Series to hedge, right? I guess.
I mean, I have I have a decent amount of Houston because I got them at 10-1 in some spots, 8-1 in some spots. Like, I'm basically betting bad lines, but the worst lines, especially when you consider the not getting back the original equity, was like I got the Mariners 120-1.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of money out there to be made by me. I think the worst one is if the Dodgers win, I get like 6.5K. If the Yankees win, I get like 8K. I got them at something like it was just over on Superbook.
5-1? Could you get? Were they ever beyond 5-1?
I think. Let me check. I got them at the beginning of the season at 5-1.
Okay.
Or 6-1, I think. Let's see. I got it over in Wyoming. I got them at 6-1 in Wyoming with a free bet. When I signed up for MGM over there. I got them at 7-1 over on Superbook a few weeks ago when it looked like Toronto could catch them. So I actually put real life money on them, $300. Ooh.
Toronto could catch them?
Yeah, to catch them for the division. Yeah.
The Dodgers?
No, Yankees.
Did you change? Were we not talking about the Dodgers the whole time? I thought we were talking about the Dodgers the whole time. I guess not.
No, I was talking about the Yankees. The Dodgers.
Never mind.
I don't remember when I put money on them, but yeah, I just had a massive free bet from signing up in some state, and like, all right, you know, I'm just going to put $1,000 on the Dodgers at like 4-1.
Yeah, like the worst thing you can do with your free bet is like to bet like a -110. Like that doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, your max -110, your max, if you hit 100% of those, your maximum ROI from those is going to be 46%. You look at 46% back. If you go with 100-1 shot and you win it 1 out of every 150 times, you're getting a 66% ROI off of it. So that's it. Yeah. Do you have any bets? Do you have anything you like in the playoffs? Any future you like?
No, I should come up more. Like, unfortunately, like, you know, with me not living in a sports gambling state right now, my sports gambling takes have gone down a little bit, but I'm gonna ramp that up. I'm gonna get more involved, and I'll figure out a way to apply that knowledge going
I think
forward.
the Mariners at 30-1 is interesting.
I mean, they have their pitching staff, their starting staff is really solid. Is Kirby their number 2 or no? Kirby would be out of the pen. Like he's a good long man, like a guy they just kind of bring in, right? I assume that's Castillo I think is pitching game 1, then Ray, and then
Gilbert.
Logan. Gilbert is a game 3 guy, but Kirby is also like a really good, in a moment guy. I'm sure he's available for at least a game or 2.
Yeah, it doesn't walk guys, gives up a decent amount of fly balls, but can strike out guys. He's good. He's reverse splits. He's good versus lefties. So,
yeah. They definitely have – that's the edge in the series. They have better pitching than Toronto.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They have much better pitching than Toronto. I don't know. Like, MLB ranked Mariners the top pitching staff in the playoffs, which
it's not egregious.
I mean, I'd take the Yankees probably over.
Really?
I mean, Cole, Severino, Cortez.
I mean, it's fine. Yeah. I mean, you could poke holes there, but I'm pulling up the rankings. Yeah. According to MLB.com, their staff, they have Dodgers second, which, I mean, they've obviously taken a hit with some injuries, but Urias and Kershaw, Braves 3. Why are the Mets 6? What am I missing on that? Like, that seems wrong.
Yeah, that Mets are the number 1 rotation for the playoffs.
What is that? Like, well, why? Scherzer and DeGrom.
And Bassett's great.
Yeah, Bassett the Hound is like, he's not sexy, but he's just good. He just gets the job done. He's efficient.
I mean, does it include I wonder if it includes that makes sense why Guardians are number 4. Includes bullpen?
I'm not sure. But I think the Mets have a pretty good bullpen too.
I mean, they have the one.
Timmy Trumpet.
Yeah. Let's see. Leaders, pitching.
I'm pretty sure the Mets got a pretty good pen.
I mean, they have potentially the best closer in baseball, right?
Class A. Yeah, certainly. Those are the top 2 or 3.
Let's see.
I don't play season-long fantasy baseball anymore, so I don't really know closers like I used to. I just know, like, overall, is the pen good? Is it not good? I just know certain guys. So, like, I don't know. I can't run off all the closers anymore these days.
Let's see who had the best bullpen in baseball. It was Houston, followed by Cleveland, followed by the Mets.
Yeah.
Followed by the Dodgers, followed by Milwaukee, Braves. Seattle's still pretty far up there. But Houston had the. Yeah, I don't know where MLB's getting these rankings, but
I don't understand that one. I'm like, why the Mets 6? That seems. I mean, Scherzer DeGrom. I mean, maybe it's because they're 3. Carrasco is 3, I guess. Is there 3?
Bassett would be the 3.
3, yeah. Like that's pretty good. Like I don't get it. Like the 1-2 combination, DeGrom Scherzer. I don't think there's anything better than that.
No, we've never seen anything as good as this in like MLB history.
Well, no, we saw Randy Johnson and Curt Schilling. That was pretty good.
I don't think that's as good. You can also, you could also say Pedro and Curt Schilling for the Red Sox.
Yeah, I mean, it's a conversation.
I mean, DeGrom right now is the best pitcher I've ever seen.
Well, you're more like just arguing that DeGrom is so good that whoever 2 is, it almost doesn't.
Well, and Scherzer, I'd say, is better than Schilling ever was.
Scherzer probably had a better career than Schilling, but that particular year, if you want to just focus on that year, 2001, right, when they did the Yankees, I think that's the year I'm thinking of. There's a couple years, obviously, but Scherzer might have been not as good this season as Schilling was that season, but career-wise, I think you're correct in saying Scherzer was better.
Yeah. No.
Well, Schilling also had a rough start to his career in Philadelphia. He was bad. It was bad in Baltimore. But yeah, that's where he was really bad in Baltimore. And Scherzer actually wasn't great to start his career in Detroit. Like his beginning of his career, he wasn't great.
Scherzer?
No, he wasn't spectacular.
First of all, he started his career in Arizona.
For long?
Yeah.
Did he actually pitch for Arizona, or he was in the minors?
He pitched like 3 years, 2 years. Yeah, 2 years.
In the majors for the Diamondbacks?
Yep.
Max Scherzer?
Mm-hmm. That's where he started his career.
Did I just forget this?
I mean, it was 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
And he was good. He wasn't great, but he was really good. Like, we had solid strikeout numbers. He was a good pitcher for 4 years, and then in Detroit, he like just took off and had just a fantastic season in 2013 and 2014.
Okay, it took him a couple years to get to his level, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, he was still very good his first few years in the league.
He really had 1 year in Arizona, 107 innings. The first one, 58 innings. Like he was there, but okay. But I still should remember that. I just like
he's a massive prospect. I remember because of season-long baseball in college, and I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna be good. Yeah, but all right. Well, that's the show. I don't know how many times we'll have this next week. I mean, it's not. Maybe have it Monday next week. I'm down in Vegas, so guys, I don't know if I'll see you again until next Thursday. We might take Monday through Wednesday off. Maybe I'll have Monday. Maybe I won't. We'll see. But I'll probably do a short show Monday and then Tuesday, Wednesday with no football. I'll probably just be gone.
Live from the wave pool, right?
Yeah, if it's even open at this time of year.
Who loves himself a wave pool more than you? I don't think anybody.
A wave pool, probably a few people. Lazy River, no one.
That's what I was thinking of. I knew you were a fan of some sort of water moving device.
Yeah, I love me a lazy river.
Yeah,
Love it so much.
Enjoy Vegas.
I will, guys. It's been fun. We're out of here.